Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the OptiStellar session today. My name is Shatanshu, and I'm one of the program leads at Google. I'll be your main presenter today. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A segment. Okay, sorry about that. There was an echo. But off we go. So the session today is scheduled primarily to talk about optimization score and auto apply recommendations. What we'll try to do is we'll try to address what optimization score recommendations does and what auto apply recommendation does for your account and for your campaigns. In case you have any questions around these two topics, feel free to engage with us. Ask us your questions in the Q&A and the comment section. We'll try to pull as many questions as possible and try to address them. The agenda for today is pretty straightforward. First, we'll understand what all automation features Google Ads provides along with OptiScore and optimizing score recommendations. We'll also be talking about auto apply recommendations. And later on, we'll talk about the best practices or the best strategy that you can opt into for recommendations based on your account, your campaign types, and the marketing objective that you run your campaigns for. With that said, let me quickly get into the detail now. Now, before we get into OptiScore and understand the need of optimizing score and the recommendations and auto apply recommendation, what we really need to understand is the importance of automation. Now, automation is being leveraged across the marketing industry, right, to drive better performance during an increasingly complex consumer journey. If you look at a consumer journey today, a consumer is spending at least or watching at least going to at least five different channels before they make a decision of purchasing a product, which means if, for example, if you were creating just a search campaign before to target anyone with a keyword intent, you would have been able to get to them. But if I'm looking for a mobile phone today and you happens to be someone who has a mobile phone to sell, you'll find me at five different in channels. You can find me on search. You can see that I'm spending time on display channels. I'm also spending time on video channels, and I'm interacting with more than one channel to say in the least word, right? So the user journey has become more complex now. And with that complexity in the journey, you need to ensure that you have your masses and your channel updated as soon as possible. There was a time when you have your channel and masses as a static field, but it's an ever changing field now. Your masses needs to evolve over a period of time. Your channels needs to evolve over a period of time. Your bidding strategy, your competition with competitor is ever evolving, and hence you need to be prepared to cope up with that. You need to have and solution to cope up with the dynamics with the dynamic consumer journey and a very complex consumer journey. And that's where machine learning and AI based technologies comes handy. An optimization score or auto apply recommendation is one way of solving for it from Google Ads, which allows you to optimize your campaigns and your account based on the Google's AI technology, and it allows you to optimize your campaigns and account in a way that you can optimize the performance of it, and you can have as close to client KPIs met as possible. Now, if I talk about a marketer on the other hand, someone who manages these accounts, someone who runs these campaigns, we need to juggle between a lot of things, right? We have multiple priorities to solve for. One of them being providing, business and market insights to our customer and our manager. We also have to at the same time make strategy and have those strategic discussion with our manager and our client. We also have to plan for future campaigns. At the same time, you also have to drive. You also have a pressure of driving profitability to customer, and you also have to manage campaigns at scale. You're probably managing multiple clients, and all of them have multiple campaigns. So you have to toggle between all these, all these expectations that are expected out of you. So you have multiple things to juggle between, to toggle between. Now that's where Google's automated solution or automated products comes as a helping hand for marketers, right? How it works is, see, if you look at this chart that we have prepared, you have five different pillars where Google comes as a solution provider for automation. You have targeting, you have creatives, you also have bidding, budgets, and there's an overarching solution which is OptiScore. What happens is, say, for example, in targeting, they used to be exact phrase and broad match modifier keywords. We later on came to dynamic search ads, which was an automated way of targeting anyone with any intent to come to your website. And we are now at a place where we suggest you to use broad match and club it with smart bidding. And that's the most automated way of managing your targeting in any of your search campaign, which is add your keywords in broad match, club it with smart bidding, and allow smart bidding to use AI and machine learning in order to optimize your campaign and ensure that you're only attracting traffic from relevant keywords. So that's how automation or automated products have changed over a period of time for targeting. Similarly, if I talk about creatives, started from expanded text ads, which was the earlier version of text ads. We went to responsive search ads, which is an advanced version of it. And currently, where we are is we're suggesting you to have responsive search ads with good or excellent ad strength, so that you ensure that your search ads are of good quality, and they are in RSA, which means the system or the AI, Google AI, still have opportunity to optimize the combination of your headlines and descriptions to get you as much of optimal performance of your creatives as possible. So that's the progression of automated products for creatives. Similarly, if I talk about bidding, we started off with manual CPC bidding. We went ahead and started using automated conversion based bidding strategy. What we suggest you now to do is automated conversion value based bidding, which is you have if you have multiple conversion actions that you're tracking on your website or your client's website, and all those conversion actions have different value, ensure that you provide a value to your conversions and have and utilize automated conversion value based bidding, which we also like to call fully automated conversion value based bidding. Now this allows you to not only optimize your bids for conversions, but also for conversion value. So you have higher chance of getting more high value customers converted to your website as compared to just getting maximum number of conversions. So you optimize for conversion value instead of just conversions. That's again the progression of automated product for bidding. Similarly, for budgets, we started a few years ago. There used to be constrained budgets for all the campaigns. Then we said, let's go with unconstrained budgets and allow your system to optimize for optimal visibility and get you as much of conversions or conversion value. Or if your target is to get impression share, then to allow you to get as better impression share and as high impression share as possible. The current automated product for budget, however, suggests you to have optimal budget based on performance planner. So there is a planner tool that you can explore from tools in your Google Ads account. You can use performance planner to identify the exact amount or the optimal bid or budget rather that you need to provide for a campaign to have optimal performance, and that allows you to optimize your budget allocation across multiple campaigns as well. Now those are four pillars, obviously, which is targeting, creatives, bidding, and budget, which we all can agree are the most critical factors when it comes to optimizing a campaign for optimal visibility. And at top of all this comes OptiScore. Now, what OptiScore does is, if you look at the beginning of time when we used to have exact phrase or broad match modified keywords, used to have expanded text ads as our text ad, we used to have manual CPC bidding, we used to have constraint of budgets. Back then, optimization was pretty difficult to do. You had to manually optimize your campaign. You had to go to each and every campaign, each and every ad group, identify the opportunities, and if any, then fix those opportunities, right? When we moved a little advanced and we started using DSAs and we started using RSAs, the way it started helping you is you have optimization score now that used to give you recommendations that can be applied to your account, to your campaigns, to optimize performance, right? Now that we are at a way advanced level and we have more automated products clubbed to give you optimal performance, what you can really use is applying recommendations automatically, which is auto apply recommendations. We'll talk about OptiScore and auto apply recommendations later on. But the most critical part that we're going to discuss today is applying recommendations automatically, which is also called auto apply recommendation. Again, as I said earlier, if you have any questions, feel free to comment, ask us. We'll try to address them as soon as the time permits. Now, on the slide, I really want to talk about the benefits that you get of optimize and score, right? One, the optimize and score and the recommendations that surface along with optimize and score is very insightful. These are all leveraging the real time signals across multiple campaigns, and coming up with recommendations that are most suited for your campaign, for your ad groups. There will be some recommendation which is only valid for few of your campaign. It will only surface those campaigns. It will only surface those ad groups for which this recommendation is valid, right? So the recommendations are very insightful in a way that it highlights those recommendations or those opportunities that you can act upon in order to optimize the performance of your campaign. So it's very insightful. The recommendations itself is a very insightful way of looking into the opportunities across your account. It's also very effective because all recommendations comes with an uplift value. So if you look at any of these recommendation, on the right side you will see the result that it will give if you apply them. So if there is a recommendation that says, hey, your RSA strength, ad strength is weak, or it's not optimal, improve your RSA ad strength by adding these headlines and descriptions. It will come along with some metrics as well. It will tell you, the uplift that applying that recommendation can have on the performance of your campaign. So it's effective. Once you apply those recommendations, it will have a definite effect on the performance of your campaigns and overall the account itself, right? And it's also a very efficient way of managing because now you don't have to go to each and every campaign, each and every ad group to identify those opportunities. All you have to do is to log into your account, go to recommendation tab, and get a list of all the recommendations that are curated for your account and personalized for your campaigns. So look into those recommendations, choose which you want to apply, choose which you want to plan to apply later on. If there is a recommendation that you need approval, plan accordingly, right? So all those opportunities are highlighted, and hence it's an effective and efficient way of managing those recommendations. Now, a few of the new features that we have launched is one, recommendations are now goal aware. It's been goal aware for quite some time now. So recommendations knows the goal that you have for different campaigns, and the recommendations are in alignment with those goals, right? So if you have a campaign with a different goal, campaign B with a different goal, the recommendation will be different for both the account, both the campaigns based on the goals that you have set for those campaigns. Recommendations are not only available now for search, shopping, display, and video, but also for discovery campaign. It's also available now for apps campaign, and so much so that the very recently launched campaign type, which is PMax or Performance Max campaign, recommendations are now surfaced for Performance Max campaign as well. You can also apply these recommendations in across multiple surfaces. You can use API to apply them. You can use scripts to apply these recommendations. You can also use Google Ads mobile app if you want to apply these recommendations. Now we've recently introduced and have in fact increased the number of recommendations that is supported through Google Ads mobile app. You can take advantage of auto apply and editor as well. The recommendations are also compatible with SA360. So that's another thing that I wanted to call out, which is if you are someone who uses SA360 for bid management, you will be able to see the recommendation for that account as well in your Google Ads account. And your recommendations will be aware of your settings on SA360 if you have data sharing enabled between SA360 and Google Ads. Now, if you look at this example, for instance, right, this talks about recommendations, how they are based on real-time auction data and your business input, right? So your conversion action that you track, the goals that you set, the bidding strategy that you use, the budget that you allocate, all that works as an input to the system, which works on a simulation model. So your all these goes as a input, and based on real-time auction data, it simulates if making a change can actually impact campaign performance positively or not. Only in those cases where there is a positive impact by making an adjustment to your campaign settings, those recommendations will be surfaced, right? So it definitely runs through a simulation engine, and simulation engine suggests if a recommendation is actually going to end up making an impact on the campaign or not. and only in those cases those recommendations are surfaced. Now, for example, here you see there are two different business objective 1, business objective 2. The recommendation for both the objectives will be different, even if the rest of the settings are same. Just because you have two different business objective, you will have different set of recommendation from all these 6 different buckets of recommendation that surface for Google Ads account, which is again a continuation to what I said in the last slide, which is the recommendations are aware of your business objective, and hence the recommendations are personalized for each and every campaign and each and every account. Now, how do you measure the impact of recommendation? There is a way to do that. If you're not sure, if you want to use it right away, and you want to experiment before you apply this across your account, what you can do is you can also opt into some of these recommendations through experiments tab on your Google Ads account. So you can go to experiments tab, and those of the recommendations that are eligible to be put on experiment will be listed down there. As you can see on the right side of the screen, you go to experiments tab, and those recommendations that are possible to be put on experiments will be highlighted. For example, if you're opting into a different bid strategy, that'll be available for experiment, or you want to upgrade your keywords and start using broad match, that will also be available as an experiment. So you can use experiments and wait for some time to see the impact that those recommendations have on your account, and then you can broadly apply it across multiple accounts or multiple campaigns. Now, a few myths about optimization score. One of the myths is if I dismiss a recommendation, it is gone forever, which is not true. Even if you dismiss a recommendation, it may resurface after a few weeks, right? And the reason for that is, for example, and we all are guilty of doing this, which is if I have a recommendation, I know that this recommendation is critical and it's helpful. However, I don't have permission to apply it yet. For example, there is a recommendation to increase budget of those campaigns that is severely impacted by being by being restricted by budget, right? What I'll do is I can either apply that recommendation, or I can wait for my client to approve and then apply. Now I know my client approval will take some time, so what I do is I tend to dismiss it, just to ensure that if I dismiss it, I'll get a 5% increase in my Opti score. So I'll go ahead and dismiss it. Now, even though I dismissed it, that doesn't mean this recommendation is not valid for me. It's still valid for me. So what happens is Google Ads system will relook at those recommendations, and if those recommendations are still valid, they'll resurface for your account. However, if there's a recommendation which is entirely out of place and is not a good fit for your account or for your campaign, and you think it's irrelevant, in those cases, if you dismiss and share a feedback along with, that recommendation will have lesser frequency and eventually will not surface for your account, because Google Ads system looks at each and every feedback that we receive from practitioners like you, and evaluate if the recommendation is actually needed for that account or not, right? So do share a feedback the next time you dismiss a recommendation. And that's where the next myth comes, which is feedback is pointless when dismissing recommendations. So whenever you go to your Google Ads account recommendation tab and try to dismiss a recommendation, a pop-up similar to this appears, which asks you for feedback, and it asks you why are you dismissing this recommendation? Is there a reason? Is this not relevant, or are you planning to apply this later, and so on and so forth. Now, when you share that feedback while dismissing a recommendation, that feedback works as a source of information for us. We look at those feedbacks and we try to optimize the quality of a recommendation that surfaces for your account. So next time you go to your Google Ads account and you find a recommendation which is not valid, before dismissing or while dismissing, ensure that you submit a feedback along with as well. Now, we do have a product feedback form. So if in case you're using a mobile phone right now, you can scan this code. You can go to the product feedback form. It allows you to provide a feedback for the product. And when I say product, I'm talking about optimization score recommendations and auto apply recommendation here. So if you have any feedback, positive or negative, or any suggestion for the improvement of product, or any inclusion of feature that you think should be included in optimization score recommendations or auto apply, so your feature request, anything around product, if you want to share, you can scan this QR code, go to the form and submit your feedback. We will look into those feedback. We will try to pass it on. We'll pass those feedback unaltered to the product team, who then will try to see if that feature enhancement, for example, can be applied or not. Or if you have a question or a query or a feedback for product, will we religiously look into those feedback and try to improve the product for better use of practitioners like you. Now, with that, the next segment comes, and this is our main focus area today, which is auto apply recommendations and how they work, and how can you choose right auto apply recommendation for your business strategy and for your client. Now, we talked about optimization score and the recommendations that surface on Google Ads. Now, some of those recommendations are something which we found a lot of practitioners applying frequently. For example, if there is a recommendation to add RSA for any of the ad group that doesn't have RSA, now anyone in their sound mind would want to apply that recommendation, would want to apply that recommendation as soon as it surfaces. Or if there is a recommendation that suggests that you need to improve the ad strength of an RSA. For example, you have a responsive search ad, but its ad strength is not good enough. And there's a recommendation that suggests you to add more headlines and descriptions. And it comes with suggested headlines and descriptions. And that way you can improve the quality of your RSA. That recommendation will surface. As soon as it surfaces, you would want to apply them. So there are some recommendations that you want to apply as soon as they surface, and that's why we came up with a thing called auto apply or auto apply recommendation. Now, what auto apply recommendation does, that it allows you to automatically apply a subset of recommendation in your account. Now, if you go to recommendation tab, you may have, based on your optimization score and how optimized your account is, you may have anywhere from 10 to 50 or 60 or 70 or as high as 90 plus recommendations surfaced for your account. So if your account is not optimized properly, you may see as high as 90 plus recommendation. If it's optimized properly, you may have fewer recommendations with fewer uplift available, right? Or headroom available. Now, some of those recommendations, in particularly, if I talk about currently, there are 23 recommendations that you can choose to automatically apply. And some of those examples, as I said, is add RSA or adding new keywords, or adding broad match variant of your keywords, or improving the strength of your RSA, or opting into auto bidding strategies. So all those 23 recommendations are part of auto apply. Now, what auto apply does is it implements those recommendations on your behalf. It doesn't wait for you to intervene. You don't have to go to your Google Ads account every day. You don't have to scream through say recommendations on your Google Ads account and choose what you want to apply. If you have auto applied some of those recommendations, they'll automatically apply to your account, but only when they surface under recommendation. So a recommendation surfaces, and instead of you going and applying them manually, that recommendations will be automatically applied if you have opted into auto apply. We'll talk about which all recommendations are eligible for auto apply. But if I quickly talk about navigation to auto apply, it's very simple. You go to your Google Ads account, go to recommendation tab. On the recommendation tab at the top right corner, you have a button which says auto apply. You click on auto apply, and that becomes and that gives you a list of all those recommendations that are eligible to be put on auto apply, and you can choose. So you're always in control of which recommendation you want to opt into. And at any given time, if you want to opt out of those recommendations, you can always go back to auto apply list and toggle those buttons off. You can untick the buttons and save, and you'll be opted out of that recommendation as soon as you do that. So you always have that option. You always have that control over when to opt in, when to opt out, how long do you want to opt in. You also have 100% transparency in terms of what all changes happened as a result of opting into auto apply. So you can go to change history, apply a filter for tools, and choose recommendation auto apply. When you do that, it gives you a list of all those recommendations that was automatically applied as a result of opting into auto apply. So you have 100% transparency in terms of all the changes that is happening to your account, to your campaigns, to your ad groups, as a result of opting into auto apply. Now, the benefits that you get are four major benefits that we really aim to generate by auto apply. Is one, we want to free up some time, then and that time you can use for your wisely or more strategic initiatives, right? So when you auto apply into these recommendations, you definitely save a lot of time. You don't have to manually go to your account and find those opportunities. You also don't have to go to recommendation tab and apply them manually. It is auto applied, and hence you're always following the best practices of Google Ads, and that saves a lot of time, which then you can utilize for other strategic initiatives which need your input. For example, if you want to create a new messaging for your campaign, if you want to expand your campaign to a new geography, if you want to plan a upcoming seasonal campaign, right? All that initiatives you can take with the free up time that you have by opting into auto apply. It also helps you capture existing demand. So due to our targeting settings and our settings at campaign and ad group level, we might be missing out on a few of the existing demand. Now when you opt into auto apply, as I said, it by default allows you to follow the best practices of Google Ads, and hence you are able to capture those existing demand which your current settings and your campaign settings and ad group settings might not be able to capture. So it allows you to capture those existing demand. At the same time, it also allows you to drive growth opportunities. So if there is an opportunity, if you have a campaign which can grow wider, which can capture more audience, but again, because of your targeting, you're restricting that campaign, auto apply, some of the auto apply levers allows you to drive that growth opportunity as well for your campaigns. Now, as I said earlier, also, when you enroll into auto apply, it's a controlled enrollment. So you don't have to worry about opting in and never getting a chance to opt out of it. Say if you're opted into adding new keywords, or because you're lenient with your keywords at this time, at this point of time, because you want to grow your account, you want to capture as many audience as possible, you opted into adding new keywords with auto apply. But after a few months, the strategy changes at business, right? And they want to be restricting their keyword expansion. And if that's happening, you always have an option to go back to auto apply and turn off the auto apply for adding new keywords. And once you do that, after that, no further keywords will be automatically added to your campaigns or your ad groups. Even when there is a ad keyword, for example, in this case, added to your campaign or ad group, you'll always be notified through change history. You can also have these notifications enabled in your notification tab. We'll talk about that as well. So there's complete transparency in terms of all the changes that is happening, and you are always in control. You are always in the driving seat. You can always take it off from autopilot mode. Consider this to be a pilot job. You're at a safe height, and you think you can put some of your settings on autopilot, and that's what auto apply does. It allows you to put some of the settings on autopilot mode, but at the same time you always have this option to turn off the autopilot mode as a pilot. And similarly, you always have an option to turn off any of the auto apply at any given period of time if you want to manually control those settings moving forward. So that's why it is very controlled enrollment. It allows you to control your opt-ins. Now, the obvious question that you will have is how can I automate, and how to choose what to automate as a practitioner. If I have an account and I'm running a few campaigns, how do I choose what all should I automate, and for how long should I automate? How do I choose that strategy? How do I choose to automate those settings? And that's what we'll cover in the next few slides. Now, on an overarching glance, if you look at your Google Ads account and you go to auto apply, there are two types of recommendations that you currently have. There are two buckets of recommendation that you can choose to auto apply. The first one is maintain your ads. Now, these recommendations are very hygiene recommendations, and currently there are 9 recommendations under this bucket. And these are, as I said, these are very hygiene. They help you maintain the hygiene of your account. For example, if you have any non-serving keywords that you want to remove from your campaign, right? So, say over a period of time, you accumulated a lot of keywords, but a lot of those keywords are non-serving. They don't have any traffic at all. They're not attracting any searches. They're not having any impressions on Google search result page, and you want to remove such keywords because you don't want to overcrowd your ad groups unnecessarily, right? What you can do is you can choose to auto apply remove non-serving keywords, and it will remove such keywords from your campaigns and ad groups. Similarly, you have, as I said earlier, also you have add RSAs, improve your RSAs, expand reach with Google Search Partner, keyword deduping and optimize ad rotation. So these are all hygiene recommendations, they are more fundamental in nature, and they fall under the bracket or the bucket called maintain your ads, because these are there to help you maintain your ad account in a better way, in a more hygienic way. The other bucket of recommendation is grow your business recommendation. Now, this is where most of the strategic recommendation falls, right? And these are there to help you drive growth for your campaign. So if you're looking to drive growth for your account, for your campaigns, and have more traffic attracted to your website, in that case, you can opt into these recommendations. Now, if you look at the recommendations closely under this bracket or under this bucket, they are mostly around bidding and targeting, right? So you have, say, opting into target CPA, or opting into target ROAS, or opting into target impression share and whatnot, right? You have adding new keywords, adding broad match keyword variant of your existing keywords. So all those target and bidding related recommendations are mostly part of grow your business recommendation, because those are strategic in nature and they help you drive growth for your campaigns. So you have to choose wisely. If you're someone who's starting off with auto apply and you're not sure what to opt into, the first thing that I'll suggest you to start opting into is maintain your ads recommendation. Start with these recommendations, because these are more hygiene in nature, and they help you maintain your ads properly with best practices of Google Ads. So opt into them. But if you're someone who has already tried hands with maintain your ads recommendation, you have opted into them for some time, and now you're comfortable and you feel those recommendations were helpful, and you want to gradually improve the growth of your account as well, in that case you can start opting into grow your business recommendations as well, which is mostly, as I said, around bidding and targeting of your ad campaigns. Now, if I talk about maintain your ads recommendation, there are primarily three benefits that you get with them. One is the very obvious, which is save time, which is with all the auto apply recommendation, you get to save time by automatically applying the basic hygiene recommendations automatically to your account. So you automatically are following best practices of Google Ads, and hence you save a lot of time. And as I said, since you are following best practices, so you have a high best practice adoption, and I'm sure you must be reached out. You must have been reached out with your Google POCs time and again, suggesting you that your accounts are not following these best practices. And one way to keep up with all the new or old best practices is to opt into auto apply, and they automatically ensures that your account and your campaigns are following best practices of Google Ads creation and its targeting. So opting into maintain your ads will also help you maintain a good adoption into best practices of Google Ads. It also has a direct impact. So once you apply those recommendations in your account, you can see that there is an uplift in the performance of your campaign, and your campaigns have a higher performance at the similar cost that you were anyway incurring, and your budget. One thing that you need to understand is none of the auto apply recommendation is going to make any adjustment to the budget of your campaign. Your budget is not going to be reallocated, it's not going to be increased or decreased. None of the budget related changes or will actually take place as a result of auto apply. And so what you do is, with the same budget that you have assigned to the campaigns, you get a better impact, you get a better result out of your campaigns, because you're following best practices, because you have your ad strength improved, because you're opted into improving RSS, because you're opted into improving or removing any non-serving keyword, because you're opted into, say for example, removing conflicting negative. So that allows you to follow the best practices and give you a better impact of your campaign. Now, if I talk about, on the other hand, grow your business recommendations, and the major benefit that you get out of it is, one, you're now focused on profitability. So you want to grow your business as long as the profitability can be optimized. Right. So once you opt into grow your business recommendation, for example, opting into TROAS, or opting into TCPA, or opting into target impression share, or opting into any other bidding strategy, or adjusting your target by a margin to allow your campaign to improve the profitability. So if your focus is to get profitability of your campaigns, if you are more concerned about improving the profitability, improving the ROI of your campaigns, grow your business recommendation is going to help you achieve that, right? It also helps you capture opportunities effectively, which means if there are opportunities which are left out on table because of your current settings, and because of your, say for example, you have only a selected few keywords, and that too in a very narrowed match type, and that's restricting your ad group and your campaign to perform to its full potential. But you opted into, for example, adding new keywords or adding broad match variant of your keywords that allows you to have capture those demands and those existing opportunities on table that your current settings and your current campaign and account and ad group settings is not allowing you to, right? So it helps you capture those opportunities effectively. It also have obviously a major impact in driving performance and specifically profitability to your account. So if you're opted into these recommendations, you can definitely see that there is an enhanced volume of conversion if conversion is your primary goal, or improvement in conversion value that you're attracting, or the ROIs that you're generating from the campaigns that you're using. So opting in to grow your business will have a direct impact in the performance metrics in your client KPIs that you're aiming to achieve through Google Ads account. Now, if I talk about specific marketing objective and the recommendations that are suitable for them, for example, in this slide, you see if your objective is to generate leads, right, the recommendation that you should opt into for auto apply, and that can work wonder for your account. And if you look at this talks about both the buckets, which is maintain your ads and grow your business. Now, as I said earlier, also maintain your ads recommendations are uniform in almost for all the marketing objective. You can opt into these recommendations. By default, they're going to maintain hygiene for your account. So irrespective of marketing objective, you can literally opt into all the maintain your ads recommendation for all the accounts. However, the most suited recommendation for generating leads, if generating leads is your marketing objective, under maintain your ads would be removing no traffic keywords. Now this will declutter your ad group structure. If you have thousands of keywords but only a handful of them actually have any performance history, because those are the only few keywords that is serving. What you do is when you opt into remove no traffic keywords or non-serving keywords, this will remove such keywords that doesn't have any performance history in last 13 months of data. So system waits for 13 months of time before deciding if a keyword is non-serving or a serving one. If in last 13 months there's no performance data, we'll consider that to be a non-serving and that keyword will be removed. Similarly, conflicting negative keywords is another a recommendation that can work well for generate leads marketing objective. So if you have any keyword which is conflicting with your target, for example, you created a single word negative by mistake at your account level, and that single word negative is now targeting and now restricting your newly added keywords for a new campaign, and you're not getting traffic in the new campaign because you have a conflicting negative. Opting into this will automatically solve for it. And I can give you an example. I was working with one of the clients, and we were auditing their campaigns and account performance. We noticed that some of the newly created campaigns, the specific target was not able to get any metrics, right? There was no movement in impression, there was no movement in clicks, there was nothing happening, very minimal performance history, and it was a major pain point. When we looked at the keyword performance, and we encountered that there are some of the keywords which is conflicting with these single word keywords or negative keywords that were added at account level, and that was a major pain point for them. So if you want to avoid getting into such situations where your campaign, you created a campaign with all the efforts, and there's no performance at all, what you can do is you can opt into conflict negative keywords, and they will automatically ensure that any conflicting keywords, any keyword that you are targeting in a new campaign and has a conflict in negative, it will solve for those keywords and remove them from a negative and allow your newly created campaign to perform. Similarly, for keyword deduping, if you have duplicate keywords in the same ad group, in the same match type, with the same bidding strategy. Remember, if you have same keyword in two different ad groups or two different campaigns, those will not be considered as duplicate. They will not be considered for deduping, right? Even if you have the same keyword in the same ad group in two different match types, they will still not be considered as duplicate. Only if there is the same keyword for more than one time, and that too in the same match type, and have the same or same bid allocated to them, those keywords will be considered as duplicate, and hence those will be deduped, right? To allow you to consolidate all your performance on a single keyword and allow you to have more enhanced performance for that keyword. So that's another recommendation that works for you. Optimized ad rotation is by default a best practice, and if you don't have it opted, opt into this auto apply as well. You have use optimized targeting, specifically if you want to have search campaigns, and you want to optimize your visibility on display network. This is helpful. You have ad RSAs, you have improved your RSA ad strength. We talked about these. If you have an RSA that has a poor ad strength, or a average ad strength, Google will suggest you recommendations to add more headlines and descriptions to improve the ad strength. And just so you know, just by improving your ad strength of an RSA, from poor to say good or excellent, you can get as much as 9% additional conversion to your website. And it's a proven fact. We did an analysis and we figured out that by just improving the strength of your RSA, you can get as high as 9% additional conversion on an average for your campaigns. So that's the impact of improving ad strength of your RSAs. And we a lot of time we practice now, because of lack of bandwidth and the focus on other initiatives, we tend to not optimize our RSA ad strength. When you opt into this will automatically solve for it. It will add more headlines and descriptions whenever this surface in recommendation tab, and optimize the ad strength of your RSAs to give you optimal performance. You have expanded reach, expand your reach with Google search partners if you have campaigns which is left out with budget, and can use search partner to have wider reach for your campaign. Now, for those campaigns, it will be opted in for expanding reach with Google search partner as well. On the other hand, if you look at grow your business recommendations, there's only a handful of those 14 different recommendations that are suitable for generate leads. You can opt into it's okay if you want to opt into all the 14, but the one that are more critical, or the most critical, are these 9 that is listed here. You can always look back at this slide at a later point as well. You can always share this link with your team. You can always ask your team to look at, or your colleague to look at these these recorded. So this session is going to be available as a recorded session on Ads on Air, so you can always come back, watch these segments, but look at the 5, or sorry, rather 9 recommendations that are suitable for generate leads marketing objective under grow your business bucket. You have target CPA opt-in, you have maximize conversion, set CPA target, adjust CPA target, maximize conversion value as one of the bidding strategy. You have store visit as default goals. So if you have store visit as one of the goals, it's and if you have an omni-channel presence, it's critical that you have store visit as a default goal as well. And then you have add keywords, which is again going to help you expand your target and generate profitability for your business. Add broad match keyword and display expansion on search campaign. These are the 9 recommendations or auto apply recommendation under grow your business, which is a good fit for generating leads, right? Now, if I talk about adjust CPA targets in particular, because that's been one of the recommendation that we get asked a lot about questions. So what adjust CPA targets does is, say for example, you have set a X dollar as your target CPA for a campaign, and there are days on which there is higher demand, and by changing that from X to X plus 5%, Google is able to generate more conversion value to your business and more conversion to your business. In that case, it will make those small adjustments to your bid target, right? And if you don't opt into it, what happens, say your X dollars CPA might not be good enough on those spike days, the days when there's a higher demand for a particular product, right? And you may miss out on a lot of potential sales and a lot of potential conversions, a lot of potential leads for your business. So ensure that you opt into adjust target CPA in order to allow system to adjust your target by a bare minimum bet in order to attract more traffic and more leads for your business. Now, if we talk about other marketing objective, which is grow online or offline sales, in that case, again, there's a different bucket and there are different recommendations that are suitable. Specifically, if I talk about grow your business bucket, you have maximize conversions opt-in, maximize conversion value opt-in as two of the major recommendations, because you're trying to now drive sales through your website, right? You have target ROAS instead of target CPA, because it's not just an acquisition, it's a you have multiple products with different conversion values, so you should opt and you should aim to optimize for conversion values, and that's where target ROAS comes into picture. So you have target ROAS opt-in as a auto apply recommendation available. So as and when your campaign is suitable, it will be moved to target ROAS. You have set target ROAS. You also have adjust target ROAS. So the major change that you see between the previous slide, which is to generate leads, and on the grow online or offline sales, is that instead of CPA, now the recommendations that are suitable for you would be TROAS or ROAS, right? So you are now aiming for ROAS since you have online conversions happening, and different conversions may have different values. So you optimize for conversion values, and hence the recommendations that are targeted towards conversions and conversion values are more suitable for you. And that's how you decide which recommendations you want to opt into for which client. If you're working for a retail customer, these recommendations are more suited for you. But if you're working for for example, for a SaaS based product company, or you're working for a customer which is focused on generating leads from their online portal, in that case the previous slides and the recommendation that we talked about in the previous slides are more suited for you. Now, how can you identify the strategic recommendations that are best fit for you, right? And look at this, right? So this in the coming slide, I'll talk about those strategic decisions that you have to take. Now, for example, if you're opting into smart bidding recommendations, which is TCPA or TROAS or any of that, right? So if you're opting into smart bidding recommendations, you can opt into them through AR. What AR will do is it will ensure that the campaigns are leveraging the most optimal bidding strategy based on performance impact and market trends. So, for example, if you have opted into TROAS and TCPA and maximize conversion as bidding strategy, what happens is that as a natural progression, if I'm currently on manual CPC, for example, just hypothetically, it will put my campaign as soon as I have enough conversions recorded, it will put it on maximize conversion, because now it will try to maximize conversion for my campaign. If I have conversion values assigned, it will put it on maximize conversion value. As a natural progression, the next step would be to put it on TROAS or TCPA, depending on whether the conversion values are different or not, and if my conversion stars have a value or not, right? So it'll put as the next step, as soon as it has enough conversion data, it will put it on TCPA or TROAS. It will set a target for my CPA and for my ROAS conversion value as well. And eventually, so that's the natural progression of a bidding strategy. So when you opt into smart bidding recommendation, it naturally progresses your bidding strategy. It doesn't jump off from one stage to other, and there's no looking back, which means once I go to advance a level of optimizing my bidding, which means, for example, if I'm already at TCPA, it's not going to pull me back at maximize conversion, because that's uh, you know target CPA is a more advanced or auto bidding as compared to maximize conversion. So since it's already at target CPA, it will try to optimize me for acquiring as much of acquisition as possible at a given target, right? So that's how smart bidding recommendations work. Now, if you're using smart bidding recommendation, what's a good fit for you is the keyword recommendation, which is adding new keywords and broad match of your keywords, because you're already using smart bidding recommendation, which works as a safety net for a broad match keywords. It's ideal for you to also opt into broad match and add keywords. So that's the strategic decision that you have to take. If you're already opted into smart bidding, or if you're opting into smart bidding now, you can also opt into broad match and adding new keywords, because that will work. The smart bidding will work as a safety net, and it will ensure that you're only getting traffic from relevant keywords. So that's one of the strategic decisions that you have to take. And let's talk about those in detail. Why should you leverage the auto apply of a smart bidding opt-in, right? Why should you opt into auto applying the smart bidding in your account? Now, first advantage that you obviously get is that you have performance optimization. As I said, based on the performance data, it optimizes your campaign. It gives you a better optimal bidding strategy. It's also future proofing, right? So you don't have to worry about going back to your account, adjusting your targets every now and then. The system automatically does, and it does it for future as well. So in future, if there's an influx of traffic, or if there's market signals changing, there are more competitors popping up, or if there is a higher chance of getting conversion with slightly adjusting your target, all those things will be automatically done, and you don't have to manually intervene multiple times in a campaign to adjust. Those adjustments will be done automatically, and hence your campaigns are future proof. It also gives you competitive advantage since you're allowing AI and ML to optimize, since you're allowing Google AI based auto bidding strategy to automatically optimize based on the signals all around it in real time. What happens is that you have a better competitive advantage as against your competitors because your campaigns are now more optimized. Similarly, why leverage the auto apply of smart bidding target adjustment? Now we talked about why you should opt into target smart bidding. Next is target adjustment. I think we described about this as well because it uses real-time signals and simulations to optimize the target for your campaign and give you as much of performance as possible. Now, some of those smart bidding target adjustments recommendations are adjust your ROAS targets. There are some criteria based on which these recommendations are surfaced. Those are listed down here on the right side, so you can refer to them as well. It mostly tells you about the situations in which the target will actually be adjusted, right? Or what are the criteria that needs to fulfill in order for the system to adjust your target for your campaigns. And similarly, we have a slide on adjusting your CPA targets. I'll go back to what I said earlier, which is if you have different conversion values, the ROAS is a better bidding strategy to opt into. And if you have a constant conversion value, or if you're capturing leads, generating leads through your campaign, a CPA would be probably a better opt-in. And in both the cases, you have target adjustment option as well, and they work differently. Some of the criteria might be similar, but those are listed down here on the right side. You can always refer to those criteria in detail if you want to understand exactly in which all situations these adjustments will be made to your campaigns and to your bids. Now, another recommendation that I told you, which is a good fit and goes hands in hand with your smart bidding recommendation, is broad match keyword and or adding new keywords. What happens, as I said earlier, also is that smart bidding works as a safety net and allows you to have expanded targeting while at the same time ensuring that you're only attracting traffic from relevant keywords, right? So it works in a real-time response to change the user queries, right? Say, for example, if you have a keyword which is in phrase match or exact match, you're narrowing down your target. However, as I said earlier, if you remember at the beginning of the session, we talked about how user or consumer journey have evolved and how they are now interacting with new types of queries and interacting with multiple platforms and multiple channels to make their decisions. The broad match keyword adjusted to those changing environment, adjusted to those changes in the user queries as well, right? And it also we already talked about how broad match and smart bidding when clubbed works well because of smart bidding working as that safety net and broad match allowing you enough expansion. You also no more need to manage millions of variations of your keywords. You provide a few broad match keywords and all the variations are covered with those broad match itself. And keyword recommendations are also based on forward looking simulation. It doesn't look at the previous searches, it doesn't look at past experiences. It in fact looks at predictive analysis. It sees the tendency of a keyword having, say, influx in traffic, for example, and it's a forward-looking simulation. So it looks at future and gives you predictive analysis, and based on that, prepares your campaigns to cope up with those changes in user query in the near future. And that's where adding broad match version of your keywords comes as an auto apply recommendation as well. And there are some criteria obviously for once those criteria are fulfilled, then only these recommendations are surfaced and applied, and those criteria are listed here as well. Now, one of them being that your campaign needs to have a fully automated conversion based bidding strategy. Only in those cases, as I said earlier also, only if you have a fully automated conversion based bidding strategy, in those cases the broad match recommendations will surface and will be applied. Otherwise, no, right? So that's one of the criteria, and it's a very critical criteria. But there are other criteria also which is mentioned here. For example, your exact keyword will and these criteria that are listed here, there are precisely 5 criteria. For example, keyword is active and not already using broad match. If you have a keyword which is paused, it might not be the broad match variant of it will not be created. And your keyword also does not need to have a broad match variant already used anywhere in your account. If it is, then that will not be created. A broad match variant will not be created for that keyword. So you can look at these criteria in detail as well. But yeah, so that's why we suggest you to opt into adding broad match version of your keyword. Now, that precisely sums up our session today. But we do have a Google Ads mobile app as well. As I said earlier in the session, also now Google Ads mobile app allows you to manage these recommendations, also keep a track in real time of all the changes that is happening in your account as a result of opting into auto apply. So if you are someone who likes to manage your campaigns and be on top of your campaigns while moving around, you can install Google Ads mobile app as well. There's a QR code on your screen. You can scan this, and this will take you to your respective Play Store, and you can download Google Ads mobile app. And this will allow you to monitor performance on the go. This will also help you take action to improve your account performance. And it can also enhance your Google Ads experience since you are interacting with all the changes in real time. And now you have OptiScore recommendations as well as auto apply recommendations available on Google Ads mobile app as well. So you can always on the go look at those recommendations, apply them or dismiss them, or choose to kind of choose to apply some of it and dismiss the others. All those things can be done now on Google Ads mobile app as well, very similar to how you do it on Google Ads front end with a web address of ads.google.com. Almost all those features are now available on Google Ads mobile app as well. Let's understand just one more slide which talks about the best practices that you can opt into to get the most out of your auto apply recommendations. So when you opt into auto apply, there are some best practices that you also need to take care of. In that way, when you once you opt into those best practices, you can get most out of your auto apply recommendations. And this lists down those best practices. Now, one of them is that you should review your measurement and privacy recommendation every now and then. Your tracking, conversion tracking, your privacy policy, if you're following them properly or not. If there's a measurement, measurement recommendation that suggests you that some of your measurement is broken and you need to repair them, those recommendations will surface under measurement and privacy recommendations. And we suggest you to often look into them and work upon them as soon as you can in order to avoid being not being able to track your conversions or not being able to keep your account in best shape. The next is check that your conversion actions are set up properly. We talked about a lot of auto bidding and value based bidding strategies. What's critical for those to work is that you have a robust conversion action set up. So look back at your account, look at all the conversion trackings that you have enabled, and see if they are properly set or not. If not, work upon them in order to fix any issue with your conversion tracking to allow your conversion tracking to be robust, and that can help you optimize the performance with the help of auto apply. Also, ensure that your brand campaigns are using an optimal bidding strategy. The one that we suggest you for brand campaign is target impression share. So once you have target impression share as a bidding strategy for your brand campaign, it gives Google a signal that these are brand campaigns and they need to be treated in a certain way, right? For example, adding new keywords will be compressed, and you will have very few add new keywords for a campaign that is focused on brand keyword. And how do you pass on that signal is by applying target impression share as your bidding strategy for any of your branded campaign. So ensure that you have target impression share as bid strategy for branded campaign in order to avoid getting these recommendations which is not suitable for branded campaign or for your brand campaign surfaced. The next is set accurate conversion values. Since you're going to deal with value-based bidding strategy, automated bidding strategy, it's very critical that you have a proper conversion value assigned for different conversion actions as well. So ensure that you're passing on the right conversion values for different conversion actions. If you have if you're dealing specifically with a lead or a customer that has different types of conversion actions and they all have different values, ensure that you're providing different assigning proper conversion values to all those conversion actions in order to take advantage of proper conversion values and optimize your campaign for conversion values, and get as much of conversion for those conversion actions that has higher value for your business. Also set optimal budgets and review budget recommendations every now and then. So you have to have optimal budget for your campaign, otherwise your campaign will be compressed, you will have lesser visibility and your campaign might get affected. So it's very critical that you have optimal budget assigned for all your campaign. And you should also look at budget recommendations every now and then, because of an influx in traffic or demand for a particular product. You might see that there's higher bit a budget that is recommended for you, and the reason for that is very simple, because there's higher demand for that product, and you don't want to miss out on the demand. So look at the budget recommendations every now and then, and see if there's any recommendation that you need to opt into in order to have your campaign properly set. So that's precisely it. We have covered all the content that we had today. If you have any questions, we still have a couple of minutes. You can put in your questions in the chat. As I said, we'll take those questions as soon as time permits. But if you have any other thing, you can always reach back to your Google POC. You can always dial in your Google account managers, and they'll come back to us with your questions. We'll try to address them as soon as possible. But what I can, as a parting thought, what I can really say is look at your recommendation tab very holistically. Look at all the recommendations, apply them as soon as you see there is a value add recommendation. Also opt into auto apply for those recommendations that you have to regularly apply to your campaign. With that said, I'll end the broadcast now, but thank you so much everyone for joining in today. It was lovely having you all here, and I wish you a good rest of the day. Thank you so much.